Hello everybody, I'm Chad Napier, and I have a new book coming out that's actually out right now. It's called Conquering Lymphoma, a holistic guide to eliminating the root cause of lymphoma, blood cancer, and general disease and cancer, if I can speak English. This is going to be a non-edited version of a video, so let's get going here. But I really wanted to talk about and kind of open up the book and tell you a little bit about the chapters in the book so you understand the book a little bit more. Because some of the feedback I've been getting about the book is, it's just another nutrition and diet book, because that's what we do in health, is just tell you something else you can eat or eliminate in your diet and help you conquer disease and cancer. But surprisingly, it's not a nutrition and diet book. So I wrote it from a whole different standpoint of it's not just a nutrition and diet book. Yes, there's part of nutrition and diet in there, but what I feel is that most people are, for one, living against the laws of nature. So there's a lot of laws of nature, laws of the universe, whatever you want to call it, that we're living against, we're really not doing nowadays, that we should be doing to help fight disease and cancer. So that's one. But two, what I really wanted to talk about before we dive into the book is, why is information so confusing nowadays? And this is something I kind of wrap my mind around, and I constantly think about myself. Why is health information so confusing? And I've been in health for about 25 years and really interested in research and health and diet, nutrition, exercise. Of course, I'm on the business side and finance side to a lot of other things with business consulting and stuff like that. That's a whole nother interest of mine. But I first started off with nutrition as a dietitian and working in hospitals and stuff like that. But nowadays, even through decades and decades and decades, why is health so confusing? And this is something, for me, only an opinion. Health is confusing because, one, health gurus, not to really attack health gurus, and of course I'm not going to send out names or whatever. That's really not the purpose. I could really care less. But health gurus make it extremely confusing, because when it comes down to marketing, you have to understand the business aspect of things. When it comes down to marketing, all they care about really is marketing their product and making money for their product. So when you're marketing a nutritional product, what happens is, if any of you have a sales background, I'm telling you the truth, because they teach this in sales and teach this in sales seminars, is, what does the consumer want? What does the consumer want to hear? So you know what the consumer wants, you know what the consumer wants to hear, so then you're just told, well, tell the consumer what they want to hear. And this is the greatest sin in our industry, the greatest sin in any industry, especially health. And for me, being a mentor and coach, if you tell someone what you want to hear, all you do is set that person up to fail. That's all you do. If I want to set you up to fail, I just tell you what you want to hear. But in this book, I come at it as a mentor and coach. I don't tell you what you want to hear. In a lot of my books, I don't tell you what you want to hear. I kind of come off kind of rough and gruff in the beginning a little bit, because I'm a little bit more in your face. And that's what, some of the feedback I got. Like, I did a podcast about a week ago, and they read my book, and they said, well, in the beginning, you kind of come off a little bit rough and gruff a little bit, because you're kind of in people's face a little bit. And that's true, because you have to be honest. And I'm being honest out of love, but you have to be honest. You have to be honest to better help people grow and help people succeed in life, no matter what it is. And in this aspect, it's health, conquering disease and cancer. So for one, this causes mass confusion. We constantly tell people what you want to hear, what they want to hear, not what I want to hear, but what they want to hear. It just causes mass confusion. Let me give you an example. A couple weeks ago, I was watching a video, and it was about health, and they were promoting a product, promoting a book, and the whole thing was about how to eliminate the belly fat. What foods to eat to eliminate the belly fat. To me, this causes mass confusion, because now all of a sudden people's running around thinking, well, Chad, what food can I eat that will help me eliminate belly fat? Make sense? What foods or what magic herb, magic vitamin that can I take to help my heart, because I have heart issues? What food or magic vitamin or mineral or herb can I take to help my kidney, because I have kidney issues? So what makes it confusing is because we're separating our body, we're separating all of our organs and systems, like they're separate entities. Like my heart's over here, my organs over here, my kidneys over here, my liver's over here. Like separate entities. And everything works in unison together. Until we get this concept of our whole body works in unison, we're never, ever, ever, ever going to conquer disease and cancer, because our body works in unison. Whatever weak link we have, it negatively affects all of our systems and organs. I mean, for example, if you have kidney issues, I can guarantee you have liver issues. Your liver is attached to your kidney. They're both filtering organs. So if you have problems with one, you probably have problems with the other. You might not have physical problems at this point, but you have problems. If you have heart issues, for example, I can guarantee you have cardiovascular issues, you have circulatory issues, you have lymphatic issues, nervous system issues, immune system issues, because all these systems are connected together. Until we get this idea, until we get this, it's going to be very, very hard to conquer any type of disease or any type of cancer. Then when we talk about disease and cancer, we have to understand that I'm not against the medical field because I used to work in the medical field. But I think you would agree with me that it's gone too far with medications and surgeries and chemo and radiation and transplants and bone marrow transplants and all this stuff. It's gone too far. Because what happens is with the medical field, they're trying to treat disease 100% by medication, surgery, chemo, radiation, or whatever. Just a broad term of medication, a synthetic source. What happens when you're trying to treat disease or cancer with a synthetic source? You only treat the symptom. You don't really get to the root cause of why someone has a disease or why someone has cancer. For example, I use myself for example. For several years ago, I got kidney stones. And for a man getting kidney stones, let me tell you, it's very, very not good. It's very painful. I had to go to the hospital. But once I got kidney stones, I was like, why did I get it? For one, that's what I'm thinking in my mind. And I was asking the doctor, well, why? But it was amazing what the doctor told me. He said, Chad, since you got kidney stones one time, the likelihood for you to get it again increases. And that was astonishing to me because I was, here I was, a health guy, and I'm getting kidney stones. So of course I come back, I'm doing research and linking together everything I can about the kidneys to kind of heal my kidneys from kidney stones. Because if you get kidney stones, you're on track. This is what you don't understand. You're on track to have more and more and more kidney issues down the line as we age. So either you clean up your act, or down the line, you're going to have more kidney issues. It's just going to keep on getting worse. It starts off with kidney stones. But another part of that is once we get a disease or get a cancer, the likelihood for it to come back increases. Why is that? Why does it, once I get a disease or cancer, kidney stones or whatever, why does it increase? And it increases because we're not treating the root cause of why we got the disease in the first place. When we take all these medications, treats the symptoms, takes the pain away or whatever, mostly pain, but that's it. Then a few years down the line, you get it again. Then a few years down the line, you get it again. A few years down the line, it gets worse and worse and worse. We have to treat the root cause. And this is what I did in this book. And what I want to explain here, we're talking about lymphoma, we're talking about blood cancers. So at this point, some of the feedback I've been getting back was, well, Chad, I don't have lymphoma. I don't know anybody with lymphoma. Or I don't have a blood cancer. So let me talk about two things here. One is it doesn't matter what type of blood cancer you have. Okay, if you have leukemia, lymphoma, or a different type of blood cancer, it doesn't matter, because once we look at the basics, the blood cancer, if you have any type of blood cancer, affects our lymphatic system, literally identical to lymphoma. Now there's some changes in there, but just to keep it simple, it affects our lymphatic system. So these are the two things that's going on. You have lymphoma or blood cancer. Lymphoma is cancer of our lymphatic system, if you already know, and it's a blood cancer. It's kind of a double whammy. If you have a blood cancer, okay, it's cancer of the blood, common sense, but it also affects our lymphatic system. So let me explain here. Our blood and lymphatic system are our largest two systems in our entire body. Okay, blood is common sense. Most people know because it flows throughout our entire body. But our lymphatic system is larger than our blood. Our lymphatic system is our largest system in our entire body. Now, our lymphatic system is kind of referred to our lymph system. It contains our lymph nodes. Lymph nodes are scattered throughout our entire body. Our lymph nodes have within it our lymph fluid. Now, our lymph fluid is 4 times the mass of our blood, which makes our lymph system larger than our blood. So common sense here. This is common sense. If we take our lymphatic system and our blood, the two largest systems in our entire body, do you think, and this is a question to you, do you think no matter what disease you have, no matter what cancer you have, do you think it's going to negatively affect your lymphatic system and your blood? That's a question to you. And to me, if I answer that with all the knowledge I have now, I would say yes. Because how can any disease, any cancer you have is going to affect our blood? So let's break this down a little bit here. How could it affect our blood? Well, our blood is associated with every single system in our body, every single organ. So no matter what you have going on in your body, it affects our blood. Makes sense? Because our blood, remember, our blood is really when we talk about our blood, it's connected to our cardiovascular system and circulatory system. Anything connected to our cardiovascular and circulatory is connected to our lymphatic system, our nervous system, and immune system. Right here, these 5 systems are our entire body. Let's flip over to our lymphatic system. Our lymphatic system is the same way. Our lymphatic system is composed of our white blood cells. What are our white blood cells? Our white blood cells help fight infection. Makes sense? So we have any type of infection, anything negative going on in our body, our white blood cells help fight the negative invaders inside our body. It helps fight infection. Now, what else within our body helps fight infection? It's our immune system, right? So our lymphatic system is really over, if you look at this circle, our white blood cells and immune system. They're entangled within both. So when you're connecting our immune system or white blood cells, that's also connected and integrated within our cardiovascular system, circulatory system, central nervous system. Everything works together. Make sense? And it's kind of getting confusing at this point, but I want to kind of open your eyes that our whole body systems work together. So in this book, it doesn't matter if you have lymphoma. It doesn't matter if you have a different blood cancer. It doesn't matter a different disease or cancer. That's why I opened this book up as a subtitle, referring it to any disease or cancer, because we're dealing with our 2 largest systems in our body. And what I did was, it took me a long time to write this. What I did was, each chapter builds on one another. Each chapter, the remedy of each chapter, I connect it right back to how it affects lymphoma and blood cancers, but more so how it affects our lymphatic system and our blood. And each chapter builds on one another. For example, let me run down through the chapters, and I won't get very into the chapters at this point, and this will be for another video. But the first 4 chapters is kind of opening it up. I have a great foreword by Daniel Garza. He's a cancer survivor. So a great foreword by him. The introduction, I open it up from my past because my dad struggled with the lymphoma for 16 years. Until honestly, until the lymphoma won. Okay, that's kind of the sad part of it. That's how I know so much about lymphoma and blood cancer. That's what interested me in this disease and this cancer. So the first chapter is my story. That's a continuation of the introduction. I talk about the state of urgency. The state of urgency is once you have a major disease or cancer, honestly, you really don't have time to mess around. You really don't. You have to it's like going to a swimming pool and you don't know how to swim and you just do a cannonball into the deep end of the swimming pool. That's what we need to do. Just do a cannonball in the deep end and you learn how to swim once you hit that water. Makes sense? But I'm helping you through it. That's the good news. Chapter 3, we talk about the law of habit. Law of habit, it brings in the universal mind, the subconscious mind, why we're doing what we're doing. Chapter 4 is what is lymphoma. So I explain a little bit more what lymphoma is. I almost took this chapter out because if you have lymphoma, you probably know what it is, but you probably did mass research yourself. But the reason why I kept this chapter in is because chapter 4, what is lymphoma, each chapter builds on our lymphatic system and our blood. So it's a basic foundation to every chapter. Now this is where it gets very interesting. Chapter 5, we talk about the most unnoticed affliction, which you're going to have to get the book to know what I'm talking about. Chapter 6 is our largest organ. Chapter 7 is the king of the herbs. Now the king of the herbs, I can tell you, if you have a blood cancer, you want to put the king of the herbs in your diet today, not tomorrow, not next week, not next month, not next year, but today. It's the reason why it's called the king, and we talk about this in the book. Chapter 8, the great conspiracy. Chapter 9, all disease starts in the gut. So we talk about gut health. There's a chapter on gut health. Chapter 10, the stress factor. Chapter 11, regeneration. Our bodies need to heal. Chapter 12, we talk about spirituality, because that's a big notation in our world today, is spirituality. Chapter 13, we talk about the great law, which goes back to universal law of nature, law of God, whatever you want to call it, means the same thing to me. Chapter 14, setting up for success, kind of helping you take the remedies out of this book and set up for success and get things going for your life. Then let me get back here. We're almost done. Chapter 15, putting it all together. So taking the concepts of this book and kind of help you put everything together, kind of walk you through everything. And that's it. It's a 262 page, I think 207, I don't even know how many pages it is, like 267, depends upon what format it is. It's in hardback copy. Now I'm old fashioned. I love paperback books, hardback books, because anytime I buy a book on health, personal development, I add it to my library, my bookshelf. I don't sell back books. When I buy books, I keep books for life, because once I have a book, once I read it, I put it on my bookshelf, and I might grab it out in a couple months and think, well, what was the author thinking about? Well, what was the author thinking about? Or what did he write in this chapter? So it's good to revisit everything. And this comes back to my business and business consulting. When we talk about wealthy people, wealthy people, when they buy books, they don't resell books or sell it back to Amazon or sell it to somebody or sell it to a bookstore. They don't. They keep it. They build a library, a personal library, so they can go back to it and reread it over and over and over again. And this is what I want you to do. There's a lot of concepts in this book. There's a lot of information in this book. And reading at one time, you're not going to digest everything. You're just not. I had a brain fart here. I'm sorry. but anyway, I know what I was talking about. I lost track of things. So it's on Amazon, hardback copy. It's on Kindle, iBooks. I'm going to have it on Barnes & Nobles here pretty soon. So that's it. I'll have the links on this video, so it's easy to click. It's easy to click and get more information. But I just wanted to give you more information. But there's tons of information, and it's hard to give everything. It's hard to give everything to you in a book. So I'm gonna be doing a lot of videos. I did a podcast about a week ago, so that's gonna be out in a couple weeks. I'm gonna start Facebook Live. I have a friend that's gonna be managing it for me. So I'm going to be doing Facebook Live with any questions, not even related to the book, but more opening up for just general health. So that's going to be coming down the road after I get back from vacation, of course. And yeah, that's it. So the links will be posted somewhere, up or down, depending upon where it's at. And I will talk to you later. Thank you.